What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope you all are having a great day. You know, it's crazy to me. I'm just getting myself back together, and getting back in the swing of things and all. And I've had some great conversation with Philly 500 and my man Game Time Brian and DMV. Keep DMV in your prayers. He just lost his uncle. We have too many people falling these days. It's getting to be crazy, to be quite honest with you. And that's why I always tell you guys, life is precious. But I was having a conversation, of course, with Game Time Brian that was interesting because we were talking about quarterbacks. And I was talking about quarterbacks where everybody just thinks that it's easy to get a quarterback. And I've always said, if we can do something better than Dak, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. But at the moment, I see teams that are out here right at this moment that don't have a viable option. The Pittsburgh Steelers are waiting and hoping that Aaron Rodgers, at 42 years of age, who has not done anything in the last 3 years, 4 years, that's their hope. The Cleveland Browns, after paying a boatload of money to Deshaun Watson, are putting their hopes on another 40-something in Joe Flacco. The New Orleans Saints had Derek Carr, sorry, I remember when Colin Cowherd was saying that the Cowboys shouldn't sign Dak. They should trade for Derek Carr because that would be a better solution for the Cowboys than Dak Prescott. We've had so many of those. We had Andy Dalton. Yeah, Andy Dalton, they're the same guy and stuff. And we've seen that, I believe, when the Cowboys, since Dak Prescott's been drafted, have played without Dak Prescott, they're only 500. And when he's played, their numbers are real. But as Game Time pointed out, hey, buddy, it's the playoffs. It all counts as the playoffs. But I kind of point out, when I look at some of the receiving cores and things out here, and this is no disrespect to the players that we've had in there, but when you look at the long list of some of the receivers had, like Lucky Whitehead and Noah Brown, Butterfingers Brown, Cedric Wilson, Randall Cobb, who has had one 800-yard season probably in the last 10, and that was only with Dak Prescott. When you talk about Terrence Williams, you haven't had a lot of great receivers. Des Bryant was on the tail end of his career. You had what was probably the biggest mistake the Cowboys made, was letting go of Amari Cooper. That was really the only time that you actually had great wide receivers with CD and Amari Cooper. And we saw what they could do with them. And this is where, Game Time's pointing out that Matthew Golden is that precise route runner like like Amari Cooper. And we know with Dak Prescott, he can hit him. But here's what I'm going to say about Dak. And I'm not sure, because I'm a one-take guy. I generally just sit here and I just spit out whatever I'm thinking and stuff. That's what I do. I have to read a script. Can't do it. Okay? This is just me with my thoughts. But as I see Dak Prescott right now, understanding that he's had the hamstring ripped off the bone. Now, this is a guy who has had horrific injuries that we would be screaming and crying like a biatch and say, hell no, we're done. But to have the hamstring ripped off the bone. Now, I can say I had my thumbnail ripped off down to the cuticle, just hanging. And that hurt like a some biatch. But I can't imagine. And I've had my ACL torn. Okay, I've had that. Now, I have had skin grafting. Now, I'm going to say that might be the closest thing to having your hamstring ripped off the bone, because if you've ever had a burn, third-degree burns, and when they put the membrane on it after doing the skin grafting, and they let it sit there for a few days to heal, when they pull that membrane off, they put you into a bathtub, and they pull that membrane, let it soak. They are literally pulling off skin. And that's about the most pain that I can ever imagine. I don't know if that's worse, the same, or less than having your hamstring ripped off the bone. Although we saw him kind of walk off the field, so maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe he's just got a high threshold pain. But to see him out here right now, where he says, if it was a game right now, I could play, and knowing he's got 4 months to heal. You may not like him. You may not think he's the right guy for the Cowboys. You may not believe in him, but you have to respect the grind that he has. And I would not be surprised to see him have a great season, because see, when he had his ankle broken, now I want you to just think about this for a second here. His ankle was completely severed, broke. We saw that happen to Joe Theismann. And Joe Theismann's leg is shorter. This leg is shorter than the other one now. And there was no thought of him coming back. He came back, and I believe he had a 37 TD season, which was a Dallas Cowboys record in a season of touchdown passes. I believe that happened. No. I'm sorry. That was his runner-up year. That was his runner-up year, where he was runner-up MVP, had 36 TDs. But we're talking about a guy who had his thumb fractured in 3 places, had a metal plate put in it, and came back sooner from that injury to lead us to the playoffs. And the amazing thing is, everybody talked about how he was just a bum. Just a bum. The fact that he came back with a broken thumb, I believe the next year was the year that he had 37 TDs. I might be wrong, but I believe that was. So when Dak Prescott's come back from injuries, he's done some incredible things. So I wouldn't bet against him. And like I said, for a player to go through and break your thumb and come back in that season and play, and not only play, but play well, to have your leg completely snapped and come back and play, to now have your hamstring ripped off the bone and come back, you got to respect that. You don't like him? I know, Ultra, you think he's a bum? It's freaking miraculous. It would be easy for somebody to say, you know what? I have been beat up too much. I'm done. But he doesn't. And this is a guy who is hated by so many of the fans. It's ridiculous, the shit that guy's got to go through. It's just ridiculous. But that's the life of being a Dallas Cowboy player. My hope is we can get our shit together this year. I am so tired of waiting and listening to the bullshit. If I had one wish, it would be to see the Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl. Just so I could finally get all of this crap off my back. I'm a lightning rod for whatever reason. And I like to think that I'm a nice guy. But damn, if I don't get a lot of crap. Whew. Yeah. I need to see them get themselves together. Now, here's the problem. Word is that TJ Watt definitely wants to be paid more than Myles Garrett. He wants the big fat payday, and I can't say I blame him. All these players are seeing all this money go flying, and it's like, I've been playing great. I want to get some of that too. And now the only way you get traction is through social media. It's kind of a crazy world these days. Used to be you would knock on the door and have a conversation, but this is really nothing new. This has been going on since the beginning of football. Ask Dwayne Thomas, who outplayed his rookie year and said, hey, I'd like to get some more money and things. The Cowboy, you ain't getting jack. He goes through, helps lead him to a Super Bowl, and basically gets cut. This has always been the business of football of, nah, bro, we ain't trying to pay you. Guys trying to get paid. But if the Cowboys continue to do what they do, which is taking their time, getting things done, we've already seen it go from 35 was the highest paid non-quarterback to 40 to 40 and a quarter. You don't want to start getting behind TJ Watt too. Next thing you know, it's going to be 45 for Micah. Joneses, let's get this thing done, y'all. Alrighty, people. Remember to tell the people you love how much you love them. Life is too damn short, and you don't want to waste any of it. And I love you guys. Make sure your people know how you feel. God willing, we'll all see each other tomorrow. Peace out.